Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Yeah, I'm gonna go there. Hang on a second.
Is that a Steve Shillette by chance?
Yeah, Steve's on here. Tracy, I'm wrapping up just another call. I'm gonna mute and I'll be right back to you.
Sounds good.
Sorry.
No problem.
Heather, I see Heather.
Thank you. All right, good. We've got still just letting people in here, Stephanie.
Yeah, that's great.
Looks like you've got a lot of interest here with people who have a book inside them or already started. I know at least
surprised.
I know at least one person on this call has a book already in draft form.
Well, Heather already published. And Judy, I know she was working. Maggie's here. Maggie's
yes.
Norma. Norma's already published. She's going to be working on her second. Hi, people.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Hey, everybody.
Great.
Let's, if you can go ahead and do the standard, type your name and city that you're zooming in from. That would be fantastic. We have a lot of questions for you, and we have a lot of questions for Stephanie on this call. So it is 1:01 here in Nashville, Tennessee. Stephanie, do you want to get started now, or do you want to give it another minute? What are your thoughts?
Well, let's give it one more minute.
One more minute? Okay. Oh, I know we've got, let's see. We've got several people from Nashville, Tennessee on this call. We've got Texas represented. We've got St. Louis.
We got Oklahoma.
Awesome. Oh, we've got Canada. Greg DeMarco.
Okay. I'll cease from entertaining you all.
Yeah, very good. Oh, we've got Washington State. All right, cool. Welcome, everybody. When you come into the call, if you're able to, go ahead and type your name and the city that you're zooming in from. And I think we're ready to get started. What do you think, Stephanie?
Sounds great. And hi, Eileen. I see you. Great. Let's do it.
All right. Awesome. Okay. Well, we're going to begin here. My name is Tracy Davison. I am zooming in here from Nashville, Tennessee. And it is my pleasure to help lead this kind of conversational teaching webinar together with Stephanie Huffman. We're going to talk a little bit about Stephanie and her background real briefly. This call is going to be from your perspective. So whether you're thinking of writing a book or have begun writing a book, or maybe you're writing your next book or getting ready to write your next book, we're going to walk you through what we call the author's journey. And let's see here. Sorry, just admitting someone else into the room. Stephanie, I want to commend you because you had 77 people register for this call all around the US, Canada, and a couple other countries, which is a great number.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, this is an important topic. I think, being the beginning of 2023, writing a book is definitely on a lot of people's list. And so this is fantastic. I know many people are going to be watching the replay on this. And just a quick note to all of you who are on the call, you will receive the replay. You'll get the slide deck. You'll get a survey to help you kind of, move the ball a little further down the field for you on your own author journey. And you're going to get the opportunity to hop on Stephanie's calendar and talk with her directly at the end of this. So let's see, again, this is written from the perspective of those of you who want to write a book. It's going to last about 30 minutes. And at the end of the 30 minutes, we're going to open it up for a 15-minute Q&A. So if you have questions and if you're able to type them into the chat, you can go ahead and do that. Otherwise, at the end of the 30 minutes, you can raise your hand. There's a little reactions key here. Just hit the raise hand button and you can come off mute and we'll hear your question. If you are not on mute right now, if you could please put yourself on mute, that would be helpful. All right, so let's get started. It is my sincere pleasure to introduce you to this extraordinary book Sherpa coach, business owner Stephanie Huffman, founder and CEO of Epiphany Creative Services here in Nashville, Tennessee. I was introduced to Stephanie by a friend of mine who is actually an author based out of here in Nashville, Norma Shirk, who is on this call. And you are really in for a treat. Stephanie owns a full service marketing agency, and she's here to help you take the next step in your author journey. So welcome, Stephanie. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. I'd like you to tell us a little bit about your story, your background, and what is a book Sherpa, and why did you choose that name? And P.S. for everyone here, Stephanie is I know that you have a creative team that has a national award-winning blueprint that gives authors a book that looks like it came right out of a New York publishing house. So, and you'll be celebrating your 10th anniversary this year. So tell us about you, your story, your background. What's this deal about a book Sherpa?
Well, I promise to make it quick because we're not here about me, we're here about all of you. But in my last life, I'm going to show you a little photo here. Hope you all can see it. I had the opportunity to work in a major publishing house. Can you guess the person in the center? Have you guessed? Go ahead and put it in the chat. I'm going to keep talking. So I figured I knew everything about writing and publishing a book because I was at those tables. I saw the decisions made. I worked with those teams. So in 2009, I did publish my own book, and it was rough. I wrote and did everything myself. And I wish I had had someone warn me along the way of the pitfalls. I wished I had someone who could explain the options that were available to me, which back then were very limited. And I wished I had someone at least help me navigate the entire journey, which I didn't have. So has anyone guessed who the person in the center is? Do we have any guesses? You haven't guessed. It's actor Stephen Baldwin.
Yes, Maggie wrote one of the Baldwin brothers.
You are correct, Maggie. Good job. So basically, I learned a lot in that process of creating my own book. And as one of the authors we worked with said, you paid the stupid tax. I said, yes, I did. I paid the stupid tax. So today we want to help you avoid possibly any decisions you make avoiding the stupid tax like I paid. So after my book was published, people began asking how I did it and asking me to help them. And Epiphany Creative Services was born. But today is, again, not about me, it's about you. So I'd like to congratulate each of you for taking the first step. We hope will save you time, energy, and resources. Now, why am I saying that? Because we all know knowledge is power. And when it comes to your author journey, there is much to know. And allow us to begin pointing you in the right direction for you. So writing a book is more than just writing. I want to make that very clear at the top of this webinar. And we are hoping to give you a 30,000-foot level view of the entire author journey process. Why? Because the decisions you make while you're writing can be affected by the choices you make that we're going to discuss down in the rest of this time together.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. That's fantastic. So let's get started. So I've got some questions for those of you who are on this call. You know, we are here because we know we've got this book inside of us, but I want you to think about your book signing. When your book is done and you're at your book signing, I want you to envision where you are. Maybe it's a bookstore, maybe it's a coffee shop, maybe it's a university, wherever that is. I want you to envision the people that are there to help you celebrate your book release, and think about the date. What is that date for you? Because we've all heard it, especially this time of the year, what gets measured gets done. So what is that date for you? You can go ahead and put it in the chat or think about it and put it in the chat later on. But we want to help you. Again, we want to help you move the ball down the field in your own author journey. So Stephanie, while they're writing their answers, can you tell us the difference about the different books, book types and authors? We want to help you identify the type of author that you're going to be for your next book.
Yeah, this will be natural for some of you, but for others, it might be new. Your book tends to fall in one of two categories. You will either be a fiction author or you will be a non-fiction author. You may know what that is. If you don't, that's okay. Some people don't. Fiction means fake. That's how you can remember it. It's a story. It's made up. It's not real. Non-fiction is everything else outside of that. So that helps you pretty much know I'm a blank author. So go ahead in the chat and let us see how many fiction authors we've got on board here today, and let us see how many nonfiction authors we've got. While you're doing that, I'm going to segue into types. At Epiphany, our name starts with an E, so we kind of like E's. And we have found as we work with authors that you kind of fall into a few types. So I want to see what type of author you feel you are today. So for example, we've got it down to 5. Now, of course, anybody could refute what I'm saying, so take it with a grain of salt, but we have found there are 5. There's the expert author. Let's say you're a heart surgeon and you specialize in transplants and you want to talk about a particular procedure or explain an area of focus in medicine that's new or revolutionary. That's an expert, E for expert. The next one is an event or experience author. So what that is think of Sully Sullenberger. Suddenly one day he's landing his plane in the Hudson River and everyone wants to know the story. He did not want to grow up to write a book, but he had an event and an experience which made him into an author. And then there's, of course, what we call earned author, number 3. A president, a past president, a dignitary, a celebrity, a public figure. They've earned the right to tell their story. One of our earned authors was one of the first 6 women astronauts taken by NASA. That was pretty exciting. She earned the right to be heard.
Just tell them we had to switch the phone over to T-Mobile.
There we go. Sorry about that, Stephanie.
Sure, thank you. And then the next would be what we call the encourager author. You want the world to be a better place. You want people to be better. You've got ideas, tips, strategies, take them. And then we want to talk about the 5th one, which is the energetic author, E for energetic. You just can't not write your book. You've got a lot to say about a lot of things, and you just can't not write your book. And that's great. So let's see, what do we have so far in the chats with fiction and non? Do we have more non? Do we have more fiction?
Let's see. I can see somebody Angelo wrote expert.
Good.
I think people are probably trying to figure out what they are.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes, I like those. That's great.
Do we have any experts in there? Let's see.
We have 1 expert. So
Okay.
we've got, and I typed all 5 in the chat. So we've got the expert author, the event author, the earned author, encourager, and energetic author.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got a couple more messages. We've got an expert author, experienced author, Amy Kessler. I may be a combo of expert, encourager, and energetic.
Ooh, cool. Great. You guys are doing good.
Katie is experienced, Art May, expert/experience author.
Okay.
Very good. Okay, cool. So,
Right.
well, let's move on and help people just
Keep going.
Okay. So I'm a believer that we have to be aware before we can beware of things. And as a business coach, I'm talking about roadblocks. I'm talking about obstacles that get in our way or slow us down. We all know it's smart planning to set goals, to make an action plan, but we also need to be proactive in anticipating what we need to overcome or what might pop up and, slow us down from writing our books. So what is it for you? What is either holding you back or slowing you down in writing your book? Just go ahead and type that in the chat if you would.
And let's go ahead and give them some options for them to think about. Maybe you're not sure about what to write. Maybe you're
they're definitely putting some answers in the chat here, like a lot. So Katie says time and money. Judy Spencer, lack of time / my day job. Patty, where to start.
Right.
Heather says time. Debbie Radish, format of a book to get everything out of my head. Art May, time and experience. Amy Kessler, time and money. Maggie, time and money. Aileen, shift in direction from business to book memoir. Norma has already written a book. Initially, it was organizing the material, then it was figuring out how to pay for the publication. Good stuff. Does anybody besides me have fear of, who am I to write a book? Will people really read it? Maybe some fear of criticism of what others might think about it. Ricky Hall says confidence. Yes, very good. Yeah, Patty, yes, fear of putting it out there. Debbie, no fear at all. The right people will get their hands on it and enjoy it.
Good for you.
Ooh, Philip says fear of success. That's an interesting dynamic too.
That's
Yeah.
that's honest. I appreciate that. That's very honest.
Yeah.
Very
So what do you
honest.
have to say about this, Stephanie?
Well, it's nothing I haven't heard before. And so you're all on the right track if that encourages you in any way, shape, or form. And I'm going to give you a little bit more here that'll encourage you. So you're all different. All your answers were different. All of your books will be different, but you all are going to have one thing in common. Going to have 10 steps that you pretty much all go through. And I am going to share those with you now. Now, again, anyone could refute these and create other steps, but we have found in working with authors, these are the 10 most common and the ones that we find you go through. You can go through them at phases at the same time. They can overlap. You can take them separately, but let's start with the first one real quick. It's getting prepared. It's the statement of intent, the scope of work, the understanding of your target audience, the understanding of your timeline, the understanding of how far of a reach do you want this book to go? Is it a general audience? Is it a very specific niche audience? So preparation is really key. Next, you start writing, penning and penning and penning away. Then we stop and we take a look and say, who's going to buy this? What platform do I have? Do I have a podcast? Do I have a TV show? Do I already have a book and people know about me? What is my platform? Do I have a huge social media following? If you don't, it's okay. We just need to talk about it. Why? Because your platform is going to be your buyer. Let's go to production, cover design, interior design, laying out the book. What do you want it to look like? What are the features? We just did a field trip at a bookstore with Maggie, who's on here today. She knows exactly what I'm talking about. All those options, right, Maggie? I can see you nodding your head. Then after you do the production, you are finishing up that manuscript and it goes to editorial. Now, a lot of you are like, oh, I don't want you touching my book. I get it. I understand. We're going to talk about that later. Don't panic. And then, of course, when it's all said and done and dropped in the design and it's all good, you have a proofreader with fresh eyes look at it, because everyone by this point, your eyes are crossed. So you have that proofreading time, they notes, you make changes. Then it's finally ready for the printer and off to printing you go. And then you have a published book. It's either under you, John Doe Press, or you've gone with a publisher. And there are options for publishers, so we'll get to that in a minute. And then promotion. Even people who get big book deals these days are responsible for their own promotion. Traditional publishing houses just don't have marketing budgets anymore, and we'll talk about that too later on. Nowadays, even the little guy can do a pre-order campaign. There are options out there to get you in a pre-order campaign with Amazon and Barnes & Noble. You may not know that. We're going to try to tell you things you don't know today to help you feel a little bit stronger, a little bit better, and you're going to have a lot of decisions to make down the road. So if we can educate you in your options, you're going to feel more confident. And then, of course, placement. Yeah, you may not be on the shelf of every national bookstore, but you know what? Local bookstores love to have you come in these days for an event and a book signing. And that is really, really cool. So you should be encouraged.
There is a lot that goes into this. And I love this slide because it's not as simple as just sitting down and writing it and saying, oh, I'm going to self-publish. There are a lot of moving parts. So thank you for this, Stephanie. Let's talk about publishing for a second. How do we know if we should go with a publishing house or self-publish? And what are the options for publishing?
Right. So you either publish a book through a traditional publishing house, which they take you through all those phases. They walk you through everything. They help you. They make the decisions. Or you hire someone or go online to an entity that you work through their conveyor belt process and you do what they say. So you kind of have two major options. There's actually going to be three we're going to talk about. But I want to know, what kind of author do you think you are? Are you someone who's more concierge minded? You want help, you want people that are going to guide you? Or are you do it yourself, low budget, or you've got budget, you just want to do it yourself? So you kind of need to say, am I a concierge author, or am I ready to dive in with those online entities and bite the bullet and go through all of that stuff without guidance, or hire guidance along the way? Some people are like, nope, I just want to write. I want someone to guide me, and I'm willing to pay for that. So there's kind of a concierge writer, and there's kind of a do-it-yourself writer, because at the end of the day, again, it's not just about writing. You want to get it in print. And the goal is to get your book in print. We can handle getting you started. You can do it. We can help you with that. But you've got to think, I want to get this thing in print. And again, how you decide which way you go can affect how you write the book, because sometimes these people affect sometimes some of the ways you present your book to your audience. So again, are you more concierge, or are you more DIY? Real briefly, to go a level deeper here, before the internet, we didn't have options. You either got signed by a publishing house, or you found a printer. This author right here that we worked with, he literally went and found a printer, and he did it himself. Then he finally came to us, and we helped him with his next books. But in those days, that's all you had: traditional printer, or go figure it out yourself. That's not the case these days. Once the internet hit, people like Simon Schuster, HarperCollins, they started poo-pooing self-publishing, shall we say, and they ignored it for a long time. And then all of a sudden they started realizing, oh, really quality writers are going out there and doing it themselves. And oh, this is a thing. So they started creating something in-house to help authors like that they weren't going to sign. And we're going to talk about that. So there's basically now 3 major categories of options for you. You can go with a traditional publishing house that signs you. You can go the DIY self-pub online all the way, working with a conveyor belt group, or there's a hybrid option. What these traditional publishing houses created was a hybrid. You go to them, you pay them, and they publish your book. They also help sell and distribute it, but you're pretty much going to have to pay for everything. You pay for everything, and you pay for marketing as well. So again, very, very briefly, traditional publishing, you sign with them, they pay you, they take you through all the 10 phases, they tell you what to do, they sell and distribute your book, and they own your content. Did you know that? Now you can go write a proposal, hire an agent, and pitch until you get that deal. That's great, do it. Or you can do it yourself. But remember, they own your content, and they tell you when you will publish. Let's go to self-publishing. It's the golden age, pardon me, due to technology. But basically, it's exactly like it sounds. Do it yourself. You want the book done. You're not interested in waiting for New York to come calling. You want to move on. You need it. You either hire that online entity or a turnkey team to help you, and you work through it with Kindle Direct or BookBaby or all the ones that are out there. And you purchase one of their packages, one of their services, and you go through all the phases, the 10 phases with them. But you project manage your budget, you make all the decisions, you promote, you sell, you distribute, okay? But you own your content. You know how much you want to spend, you know how long you want to take, and it's your baby all the way. So the hybrid, it's exactly like it sounds. You go to the publisher or a publishing house that offers a hybrid. They have this turnkey team, everything. They design, edit, produce, and publish, but you pay, but they help you distribute and sell your book. They project manage the process. They print your book. They help you sell and distribute your book, and you still get to own the content. So how about that?
That's very helpful. And I know we've had several conversations about this. And one of the examples that you and I talked about, Stephanie, is like the traditional publishing is almost like being here in Nashville. Can you tell I love Nashville? I've only mentioned it like 25 times on this call, but it's like the singer-songwriters here in Nashville going to the Bluebird Cafe, hoping and waiting for that agent to recognize them. That sounds like the traditional.
That's a good example. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's as good as we're going to get right now. Exactly. So
yeah, so I know, like for me, that's obviously way out. Like I really love the idea of the self-publish or the hybrid. And the way I guess I would define those is the self-publish is, yes, you've given us all the steps, but I still would want a book Sherpa, you know, or somebody to do that with me. And then the hybrid model, which I know you also offer, that's like, you're going to help us every step of the way, but you're also going to make those introductions and so much more. So love it. Okay. Thank you. Just wanted to kind of clarify that. Let's talk about time. How much time does it take to realistically get a book?
Well, we've
written?
seen authors do it from zero concept to printed book in 12 months. Very painful. I do not suggest it. We've seen authors take the writing process at 24 months, still writing, not even into editorial. So it's really up to you if you're not with a publishing house who controls your schedule. So you can go as quickly as you want. You can go as slow as you want. Again, if you're doing the self-pub or hybrid. But again, a traditional publishing house would determine that. Now, if you're writing, if we want to just go to the writing thought, if you're really doing the due diligence, the statement of intent exercise, the scope of work exercise, the target audience due diligence, you're thinking about the introductions and the connectivity of each chapter. You're thinking about building the arc in each chapter. You're thinking about segueing from chapter to chapter. You're thinking about that final wrap up. Or if you're a fiction author, you're developing those characters, you're creating those arcs, you're following that formula, because there is a good formula for a good story. People don't know that. Every time you watch a TV show or go to a musical or watch a play or anything like that, there's a formula that's followed. There's literally a formula, and it's not rocket science, but a lot of people who self-publish or even go to traditional publishers, they don't really understand that. And so understanding that you can learn these skills, you can find these tools, and you can create a really good book rather than just seriously sitting in front of the computer going, I don't know where to start. You're exactly right. Everybody starts like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know we're getting down there on time. We've got about 3 minutes left for the teaching part of this call, Stephanie. So talk to us about, let's say you're ready to get started with writing your book. How do we begin? And yeah.
Right. So if you are beginning your book, you're going to have to understand that these are the things on the screen here that you're going to have to be a part of during the author journey. Okay. So you can see where the money goes. Either the traditional publisher is paying for this or you are, and either they're project managing or you are. So let's say in starting, you really go, okay, I am ready to begin, but I don't want to deal with an author. That's okay, or an editor. Editors are there to make sure you have a good read for the reader. Don't be afraid of a good editor. Bad editors, run from, yes. But a good editor, their goal is to make sure your book flows, to make sure that when they put the book down, they say, this was a great read. Getting started, again, the preparation phase is critical, being sure you really work through those exercises and really know why you're writing what you're writing, who the target audience is. Is it a fiction process? Is it a nonfiction process? Understanding how the chapters develop and how they transition.
Awesome. What is the process required for a powerful and sell-ready title, subtitle, and the cover of my book?
Well, there is formula to that too, because we live in an SEO age. People are out there searching. And if you have a title that isn't proper SEO, like our astronaut, she said, I'm going to title my book Weightless. I said, no, you're not. And she goes, why not? And I said, because Google Weightless. She's like, oh. So we called it Go for Orbit. It's great.
That's a great example. Yeah, I think that could be a fear that holds people back too. What am I going to call my book?
Yeah, it's a titling discovery process. It really is. Yeah.
This has been great, Stephanie. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you sharing time with us to talk about the author journey today. Do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with the group before we wrap up and go to Q&A?
Yeah, real quick. I want you to think about who you are. Are you the DIY person focusing on these items here on the screen? Do you know where you fit? Do you feel you know your options? Do you feel now that your shoulders are coming down just a little bit? You have a little bit more awareness. You actually can see there's a path and there are options and little paths off the path. You can feel good about that. Do you feel like, I really think I need some help? That's okay too. And then I want to share with you, for all of you who've attended today, I'd like to give you a 20-minute complimentary discovery where you can literally ask questions of me one-on-one and say, this is who I think I am. This is what I think. Does this sound right to you? And I'll tell you. And I'll say, you know what? Let's talk about a few things to make sure you choose the right path, because you don't want to be throwing your time, energy, and resources in one direction only to realize later you could have gone another.
That's fantastic. Stephanie, you have a survey that people can take to kind of help guide them. Can you talk about that? And is it okay if I put it in the chat?
Yeah, let's just go ahead and put that in the chat. I want to get to the Q&A, but yes, feel free to do that. That'd be great. And you can take it at your own leisure.
Okay, awesome. Well, if you have, let's see if there are questions in the chat here. Stephanie, are you seeing any that we didn't catch at this time?
The process to decide on the title is frustrating and exciting at the same time. That is very true. That was a great comment. I think I would like to know from people that are here, can you answer for me, those of you who have published, what option or path did you take? What path did you use? Was it a good experience? Was it a bad experience? What type of book did you publish? And do we have any traditional authors on here? Do we have self-pub? Do we have hybrids? I'd love to know who we have in here.
And you can just come off mute, and like, this is very informal at this point. We're just having a conversation. You don't have to be afraid of getting sold. That's not what we're here for.
Right. That's right. Anyone, don't be afraid to share your journey and experience.
I can share a little bit.
Great. Hi.
I co-wrote a book in 2005. It was traditionally published by 𝒂𝒂𝒅.
Okay.
And it was a nonfiction leadership book.
Got it.
From a marketing, nobody did any marketing on it, and it died.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad book, but it makes a much better paperweight now. Self-publishing wasn't an option back then.
Right.
But I'm working on one right now that I'm planning on self-publishing.
Good for you. And what options do you think you're going to take a look at, Angelo?
What does that question mean?
Do you think, have you looked online at which directions you want to go? Have you looked at any coaches along the way?
Yeah, I'm working with a coach, actually.
Fantastic. And what are you working on with the coach? What's the focus?
Well, she helped me get started.
Okay.
She helped me with the title.
Good.
She helped me with the structure of the book.
Great.
And I'm kind of in the middle now, where I'm doing the writing.
Okay.
And she's going to help me as I get further along with the proof. She's not going to do the proofreading editing, but she's going to point me in the right direction with the right people. She did a good job pointing me to the right cover people. So I got a nice cover.
That's so critical. Well, that's terrific. So would you suggest to people that they go with a Sherpa, some navigation?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because, and I'm victim of this myself a little bit. I tend to drift because I'm working, I got a job too. I'm a consultant. So I'm working with my clients, finding the time to write, the discipline to write can be hard.
It is. And that is where, just like in a gym, you get a coach. Like anything, you get a coach. And even if it's 4 sessions, 8 sessions, 12 sessions, you get a coach just to get you going and to give you a plan. And I think that in today's day and age, I think that people are more open to it. I'll be honest, when I was growing up, you didn't do that because it showed weakness. I think we're in a new era now where people do want mentors. They do want coaches, and they see the value of that. Would you agree, Angelo?
Oh, I agree. And as a coach myself, it would be hypocritical. You know, if I need help, not to seek out a coach.
Yeah, if your coach doesn't have a coach, you probably don't need that coach.
Oh, I hadn't even thought of that. That's kind of funny. You know, if I'm a coach, why would I not get a coach to help me with my
With
author?
stuff that they know a lot more about than I do. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Angela. Is there anybody else who's brave enough to say, here was my journey and here is my 2 cents? Anybody?
Or where you're stuck, or any other questions.
I'll tell you my journey. So I used to write a column about business crises that I had dealt with in my PR career. Thought if I take them all and put them together, I'll have a book. Well, yeah, I had like 10 pages. So I spent a year or 6 months or so, you know, fleshing that out. And then I hired an editor, coach kind of person to review it for me and tell me what she thought. And she said, well, this isn't a business book and it's not a memoir. You got to pick one.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's not I mean, I'm synopsizing what her advice was.
Yeah.
And that kind of stymied me. So then I thought, okay, it's going to be a memoir. And I wrote, I don't know, I have probably 100 typewritten pages, but it's still not where it needs to be. And the pandemic hit and I just lost all motivation and it just sits there. So
yeah,
as I told you before, that's why I'm doing this, to try to help motivate me.
Oh, well, but again, you just need someone to help kickstart and get you in the right direction and get you organized, you know, getting those chapters organized, getting the transitions organized, talking about the arcs. And that is something that you shouldn't really know until you are taught. You don't sit down at a blank screen and know how to do that. And Eileen, you've got amazing stories, I know. And those stories need to be brought to life to the public. So yeah, I'm excited to see you taking next steps to move forward and do this.
Well, thanks for doing this.
Oh, you're very welcome. Okay, who's next? Who's brave? Take your mute off. Let's hear from you. Come on. I see smiles. Come on.
You're here. What's your story? Looks like Katie's has unmuted. Yes.
I have unmuted. I'm ready.
All right.
Gosh, well, I am a mom and an entrepreneur, a mom of a little one, and an entrepreneur. So it's been really hard to kind of get going, but I will say what I've learned in my life is that if you have a nagging feeling inside that will not go away, and that intuition is speaking louder and louder, mine is saying, start the darn book. Even though it might take you a really long time, friend, just do it. And so it's living inside, but I haven't gotten it out. So to be totally honest, it's cost prohibitive and time prohibitive, just with my lifestyle, but I know that I owe it to myself to do it.
Well, it sounds like, you know, from today, you've been able to think through some questions, and it sounds like you were able to verbalize, I'm kind of a DIY person. I'm kind of going to go that self-pub, lower budget route, and I'm going to make this happen. Yeah, good for you. Look at you.
Thank you.
Than you were 45 minutes ago.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Who's next? Come on, be brave. Take it off mute. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Oh, come on, people.
I think
I could talk about my second book. Well, the first one was based on blogs that I had written, which were fictionalized accounts of actually HR events that I'd been through. And then book two, yes, there it is. And then book two, I started in 2018, and I couldn't really decide what I wanted it to be, what the focus should be. And I got bogged down, and it's now finally, here we are in 2023, and I'm very close to wrapping up the editorial part of it and sending it to the next step of publication. So it just takes a while. I mean, for a while, I threw the script the manuscript aside and thought, this is garbage. I'm never going to finish it. Nobody will ever read it anyways. So it does take a lot sometimes. I mean, it's been interesting. I didn't think it would take me that long with book two, but it has.
So you feel energized, you feel like you're moving forward, you feel like you're getting over a hump.
Yeah, when I finally had it in a form where I was confident enough to hand it off to my editor to review, I felt like that was almost as good as going and getting it published because it had taken me so long. So yeah, it's in great form now. I just have to move to that next phase.
Yeah, there you go. Congratulations on keeping the duck paddling under the water. Good job. How are we doing on time? We want to be sensitive to everyone's time. Do we have more time?
We have 5 minutes remaining that we allotted for this call.
All right, come on.
So-
Next.
Steve, here, I
Yeah.
got a quick follow-up for you. I'm looking at the possibility of compiling a variety of stories of, triumph and tragedy and those types of things. It seems like you would have to take a little bit different approach to that since you're telling other people's stories or capturing that.
Right.
Is there something different when it comes to how do you copyright that or the registration process when you're aggregating a number of stories into I think that would fall into the experience and encourager category?
Yeah, good. You're finding your category. That's great. Doesn't that feel good to kind of know what kind of author you are? It feels kind of nice, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and great question. If you are writing stories of other people, you don't have to worry unless they're dead and there is an estate involved. And you can talk to Ms. Norma Shirk about that. She could probably point you in the right direction on who to talk to about that. If they're alive, we have a permissions process you can work through. Very simple, and how you reach out and you get something in writing from them, allowing you to tell their story, and then probably providing sign off for them before you go to print. Is that helpful? Is that what you were asking? Or did I miss the?
No, I think so. It's just a case of, there's a structural to it, but then there's a procedure to it. And so just wanted to kind of look at that.
You do want to put the book together so that there is a true beginning, a true middle, and a true end. And that is where it takes a little technique and a little strategy, and probably someone with who's not attached to the project to be able to say, let's map this out. And let's really talk about, at the end of the day, what's the one thing when they close my book that I want that reader to know? And that takes strategy and planning. Sometimes we do an exercise with authors where we make them write the last chapter first. I know that sounds painful, but I've had some authors, I just couldn't get through to them. And I had to force them through the last chapter first in order for them to really use it as the red dot on the target, to see to keep them where they were going. And it helped. So there are ways to map that out so that oh, I'm not randomly throwing stories in between two covers. I really have a plan here. Is that helpful?
Yes, very much so. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Stephanie, I have a question in the chat. Oh, no, actually the person's going to come off mute and ask it.
Hi, thanks, Tracy. Sorry, I can't put my video on because I'm having issues. Just a quick question. I wrote a book 25 years ago, self-published. Things were a lot back in the mid-90s.
Wow.
But so out of curiosity now, I know what I spent then. What kind of budget do people look at if they're self-publishing?
Yep.
Like roughly how much money would they have to spend for this kind of project?
Sure. So it's like buying a car. You're going to decide what your budget is, and then you're going to go find either the self-publishing or the hybrid that matches your budget. That's where you're going to start, unless budget isn't an issue. I have seen people self-publish for up to $3,000, and I've seen people hybrid publish over $30,000. This book here, she went custom with us, and she went to a custom printer, and it was 70 grand. Okay. So you can decide what you want. And online, they have packages. So if you go, I only have $3,000, you go out online and you find that publishing opportunity that's going to do it for you under 3,000. Or you say, I think I really want a hybrid, and great, do the hybrid, go the extra mile. So I've seen it go up to 3,000 to 30 plus. If you're a self-pub and on a budget, I think you can get away with 3 to 5 nowadays. The supply and demand has changed pricing for a lot of things, but That's kind of what we're seeing.
That's-
Is that helpful or no?
That's a big delta between 3,000, 30,000 and 75,000. I
Right.
guess a lot of the cost, my guess is a lot of that cost is probably in the printing, would it be?
This one, the 70 was, but she had us as a turnkey team do all of everything for her, from concept to design to printing. And she went with a traditional printing house because this can't be done. This can't be done in a self environment. This is a die cut cover. So a die cut cover and added and paper and style of cover material, and it was 4-color throughout. And you don't have to do that. I mean, she was the wife of a rock star, lead singer of a band, and it was his wife. Our astronaut did 4-color interior and same beautiful, a beautiful book like that. She didn't do 70 grand. And again, I know people who have been able to go online to a self-publisher and literally eke out the dollars over time, and they came in probably about 5. Would anyone like to say your experience and what you feel you could come in at budget-wise? You're welcome to put that in the chat. But
well, I know back in the day, 1995 or 6, when I wrote that book that's self-published, I was into it for 10 grand just in printing.
Yeah, and when I did mine, Greg, I sank 25 into mine, and it was intentional because I hired an illustrator, and there are illustrations throughout, and I own those illustrations. And I hired a very expensive editor. It was my own doing. It was my own choice, but I never looked back. I was never sorry. The 25 grand to this day, I wouldn't have changed a thing I did.
So I have a question about that. Did you make the money back?
Yeah, that's
You
where,
or Gary?
right. Yes, I
Oh.
did. But that's why we're having this conversation today. Time and time again, I know people wanted to come on this webinar and say, I just want to talk about writing. No, you don't. We want to talk about getting the book into people's hands. And we want to talk about sales. And there's a lot that goes into that. So you're either going to be a speaker who sells your book at your speaking events, or a coach who sells your book to your clients, or you've got a big social media following and can sell it to them, or a huge email list and can sell it to them, or a podcast. Am I making sense? This is talking about that dot platform. That dot platform is critical. And if you don't have a platform, that journey to sales is tougher. Can you get there? Yes. We just worked with a retired CEO, and he had not started speaking yet. He just started on the book, and then we got him with a speakers bureau, and he has sold more books than I even thought he could. He is out there just plugging away, but he's doing it himself. He went DIY. He does not have a hybrid attached to a publisher or a traditional publisher who helps with that. But even there, you got to be the promotion. You've got to have the platform. Eileen, I don't know if that answers your question. Feel free to push back if I didn't nail that.
No, that answers my question. But I think that's part of my problem. I'm not sure I'll sell it. I just want to write it.
And you know what? We have people who write the book. Did you know? Oh my gosh, I should have told you all this. Those of you who stuck around, this is good. There are 3,000 books on average published a day, people. And of the DIYers, they usually sell, you ready for it? Wait for it, 250 copies.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you have it. Now, my little retired CEO, Mr. Hustle, he's out there killing it, but he asked us to help him become a speaker and put him in touch with those right people and get him a little package and get him all ready. And we launched him, and he is out there hustling like crazy, but he's selling, he's getting his money back. He had a package of 30. He went self-pub, but with the package ended up 30, but he got it back. Yeah. Anyone else? How are we doing, Tracy?
We're over on time, but that's up to you if you want to stay in for another 5 minutes or so and answer more questions. My question is, what about the person that's not looking to do like a $25 a $25,000 deal, you know, like the solopreneur, the coach. I'm assuming there are people like that on the call here. Can you talk to us about that?
Absolutely. I would invest in a Sherpa who can help you navigate the options out there and help you find the one that fits you and help you create a budget, help you understand that. I would invest in a few sessions with someone who's a professional that can get you going in the right direction. If you're someone who isn't afraid of budget and you've got the budget, you may not want to spend it, but you've got it. Don't spend a dime until you hire a Sherpa or a professional to walk through that journey with you and pick the right one. The publisher that you pick or this hybrid that you pick, it's about chemistry, and you want to be sure you are in the right place, and you want to be sure that you're making the right decisions with that chunk of change. Is that helpful, Tracy, or did I not?
Yeah, yes, it is. And I know you have like basically 2 offerings for people, you know, who are here. So what would that look like to help us wrap our heads around what we need to do and get a plan of action in place?
Right. For any of you, we all know getting a coach is going to help you get in the gym and lose weight or tone, getting you going in the right direction, whether you've got writer's block, whether you didn't do the prep, whether you feel like you don't understand the promotion, whether you really are kind of unsure about who to pick for either self-pub or hybrid, we can help. And we do have 2 packages. We have an entrepreneur package of 4 sessions that I would suggest for those of you on budget. For those of you who have a little more budget, we have an executive package of 8 sessions, and we have 2 payment options. I'm going to share that with you now. So for those of you who are interested or ready, and you're just like, I just need to start, I just need to do this, I'm going to bite the bullet and I'm going to get her done. Tracy, why don't you go ahead and put the link for that in the chat? And you're welcome to go to that link. You're welcome to think that through. And most importantly, because all of you are here today and we really care about you and your journey, I just want you to book your 20-minute discovery with me so that you save time, energy, and resources and don't make a mistake. I want to see you pick the path that's best for you. And I want to see you do it in 2023.
Exactly. All right.
Getting that in there, folks.
Yes, it is in the chat.
There we go. Nice.
Oh, yes. Let's see. Stephanie, would you be able to put the slide with the pricing back up, please?
Oh,
I think basically it's 4 sessions for.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there it is. 4 sessions for 1,800 or 8 sessions for 3,500. Your rates are really good. I'm just going to say that. I mean, you know, I work with a lot of business owners, and that's.
We really want you to move forward, and we really want to save people from making the mistakes. We really do. And I think we have a link for people to go to those packages, don't we, Tracy? That you can also put in.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to put that in there as well. For those of you who are just like, I just need to do it. Now, I'll be honest, we have people that they just keep moving along with us. And they don't worry about a package. They just say, I'm going to do monthly and we're just going to get this done. And we go the whole journey with them. That option is also available. But for today, I just want to see you guys get going, just move, but get a coach, get some organization, get together with all your thoughts and your little exercises and looking at your options and feel like, gosh, I have a plan. I'm not going at this blindly with a blank screen. I'm not just going with something that's in my head. I'm really going to do this right. Because at the end of the day, it's about having a good read that the reader closes the book and says, that was a great read. I loved this book.
Yeah. Taking action. That's the name of the game. What is the next right step for you?
Absolutely. So we just want to save you from paying the stupid tax. So schedule your session with me. After this, we're going to follow up with you all via email. Even those who weren't able to join us are going to get the recording. They're going to get the PDF of those 10 keys that we walked you through. And go ahead and get that scheduled there on the screen. Also, take that survey and copy
That's
it.
really good.
And just to feel like you're, making some progress. But I think we want to give everyone back their time. So,
Yes.
yeah.
There's no risk in hopping on that call and sharing your story with Stephanie and getting some direction, and you can take it from there. So thank you everybody for being here. I hope you have a productive day and a wonderful rest of your
Thank
week.
you. Thanks, Stephanie. Good to see you.
Oh, good to see you, Eileen. And thank you so much, everyone. We really, really appreciate your time and have a great day. Talk to you soon, I hope.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you, Art.